Greetings everyone, Stephen Raphael Marchione here, and I wanted to talk to you about winter setup for your guitar, the things you can do at home to keep it healthy and playing properly. So the first most important thing is that wherever the guitar is stored, whether it's the case or in a studio room or a music room, that you maintain 45 to 55% humidity. So 45, 50 is perfect. Below 40 is very dangerous. And you don't want the guitars to be above 55%. I recommend that people use the Boveda string packs for in the case. And you need a 4 or 5 gallon humidifier for a larger space like a studio. Like in here in my studio, on each floor there's a 5 gallon one. And you set the humidity gauge so it's only kicking on when you need to. You don't have to run it all the time. You just want to maintain that 45%. The other thing is, especially if you have a new guitar, like if you bought one of my instruments or another instrument and it's a year, 2 or 3 years old, one thing you'll notice is that the guitar will shrink a little bit naturally, but second, third winter, it's going to do it a little more, no matter how well the wood is aged. So what you want to look out for is, like, if fret edges are coming out at all, and we're all familiar with that, that's something that indicates that the guitar is too dry. That's the biggest indication. So let's start with the tuning machines. During the winter, when there's some drying, and by the guitar aging and drying a little bit, it's very important that you check the nuts that hold the tuning machines up into the headstock, that pull them tight. These need to be nice and snug, not gorilla tight with a wrench. You can use a nut driver and just make sure they're snug. The other thing is the set screws for tuning machines. These need to be checked every winter. Some of them, like on Spurzels, they also set the tension and resistance of the key. So you want it so it's once again snug, not super tight, and that the tuning machine is smooth and to the tension of your choosing. That's adjustable by the musician. Another thing, before you adjust anything else after the machine heads, is you need to check your truss rod straightness or your neck straightness. So when the guitar is tuned to pitch and it's in playing position, you want to hold a string here on the last fret, 22nd on this guitar, and you want to hold it down at the first fret. Now the string is acting as a straight edge, and you need a little space. You hear that? A little space between the top of the 12th fret, 10th fret, and the bottom of the string. And you should get, on all these strings, a nice little clicking sound. You can see it as well. It should be around 0.010 of an inch, which is the thickness of the high E string. So that's quite simple. Now, if you need to adjust the truss rod, it's quite simple. You put the wrench in. To straighten the neck, you tighten. To loosen the neck, you go counterclockwise and loosen. One thing that you may find, especially with my truss rods, is that a very slight adjustment makes a big difference. So if it's in the winter, they tend to bow a tiny bit more, and you may want to tighten that up. So you put the truss rod in, you put the wrench into the truss rod, and then you tighten. I would only go like that much. So that's about 1/16 of a turn. That can make a big difference. And then go back, tune it back up to pitch, and then check your neck straightness here. After that, You want to make sure all the strings are ringing cleanly. Now for a guitar like this, you would do that through the amp, because electric guitars is different than an acoustic, but that should tell you whether or not the nut height is good. Realistically, they don't change that much. Sometimes a string will settle and it needs to be lifted in the nut itself. Now, from there, you play the guitar and you make sure your action's right. Once the truss rod's adjusted properly and you know the nut is okay, then you can make very small adjustments to the bridge if needed. Usually the truss rod adjustment will take care of it if the guitar has already been set up well. If it hasn't, then you need to adjust the bridge. And finally, really for maintenance, if you're going to go through all that trouble, it's a good time to use a nice polish and clean off any gunk from your sweat or, skin contact with the guitar. So I recommend for that the D'Addario cream polish. It's very gentle, but it will remove and polish. And I think D'Addario calls that Restore. And that's it. I just did some winter adjustments on this guitar and it's ready to sing. So anyway, please reach out to me. I'll be doing some more videos like this, and I'd love to hear from you. marchione.com is the website. Thank you. Bye.